Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here from the Back to 12 podcast to preview all of the Sweet 16 matchups in the NCAA Tournament, and we have some shockers out there. No, not Wichita State, but some surprising teams in the Sweet 16. But let's start off with the Chalk region that will be playing in San Francisco. I am, of course, talking about Gonzaga's region out west, and that will feature the first game on Thursday night, which will be Gonzaga versus the Arkansas Razorbacks. The Fighting Eric Musselmans will head out, and previewing Gonzaga just a little bit. They reached its 7th consecutive Sweet 16 by outlasting the young Memphis Tigers 82-78, and now we know Chet Holmgren, we know Drew Timme. Those are the guys that really have gotten Gonzaga to this point, along with their really veteran leadership in the backcourt. I expect much the same from that, but do not count the Razorbacks out, as they have Williams and Note is a legit dominant point guard across the country. Doesn't matter what league you put him in, Gonzaga is going to have their hands full with him. The issue with him is he going to get in foul trouble early? He's done that a couple games lately. I don't think he will, but I do love the pick and pop with Note and Williams from Arkansas. But I'll say this, I think Gonzaga, if they're going to win a national championship with Mark Few, it has to be this year, because this is one of their best teams they've ever had. When you look at the amount of talent on this team and the amount of talent that came back, they have to win it this year if they want to win it. And I think that they will win this game against Arkansas to head to the Elite Eight. Now the most really interesting matchup, in my opinion, in the Sweet 16, and that is Texas Tech, the 3 seed, against Duke. This could be Coach K's final game. He was going for his 100th career tournament victories, but the Blue Devils are the underdog as it currently stands right now. Texas Tech is favored by 1 point in this one, and now the Red Raiders didn't have it easy in the round of 32, just surviving and outlasting the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame 59-53. And Bryson Williams is the name you need to know when it comes to the Red Raiders. The transfer from UTEP has been one of the best players in the best conference all year long, a unanimous all Big 12 first teamer. He is the guy that the Blue Devils will key in on, but don't get it twisted. Texas Tech has a ton of talent in the best defense that almost has ever been scripted and rated by KenPom. They are tied for the third best defense ever by KenPom. Texas Tech has the best defense ever. That was in 2019. Derrick Rose's Memphis team is second, and right now the Red Raiders are tied for third. But that can obviously go up. It can obviously go down, but this defense is legit for the Red Raiders, and they will travel out west, as will Duke. They will travel across the country to hopefully not end Coach K's career prematurely as they try to go to the Final Four in his last season. They outlasted Michigan State and Tom Izzo in the round of 32, and Paolo Banchero is going to be the guy that you need to watch out for, as he is a top 3 pick in the NBA draft. 6'10", can do it all. The Red Raiders are going to have their hands full with the talented freshman sensation. And don't forget about Mark Williams either. He's a really, really good player down low for the Blue Devils and really allows Paolo Banchero to go out on the perimeter and do a lot of the things that he's excelling at with that 6'10" frame of his. And he can be a ball-dominant guy even out on the perimeter at 6'10", and Mark Williams allows the Blue Devils to still have that presence down low. I will say this game is the ultimate toss-up in every matchup there is in the Sweet 16. I could legitimately see it going either way. I will say this. I think the Texas Tech Red Raiders win this game because the defense travels, and in March, you can get away with having a lackadaisical offense, but if you do not have an elite defense, you're probably not going to go too far, and that's been proven the last few years up until 2002. When you look at it, every team that has won a national championship has been at least top 22 in adjusted defense. Duke does not meet that criteria. They are 40th. The Red Raiders, as I mentioned, are first. We move on to the South region, and really this one's really interesting because it goes down to San Antonio when you think that Arizona would have a home court advantage, but Houston's right down the road from San Antonio, and that will be the matchup down in the South region. The 1 seed Arizona against Kelvin Sampson's Cougars, the Wildcats and Cougars, both cats, you know what I'm saying here. But this is going to be interesting because TCU from the Big 12 Conference, took Arizona to the brink. And some people even say they got a little lucky, did the Wildcats, out in San Diego. I won't go that far. I do think they're the better team, obviously, than TCU, but TCU was in it till the very end. When you look at what Arizona does really well, I mean, they might be the most well-rounded team outside of Gonzaga in the country. I expect Tommy Lloyd, the first-year head coach that was previously at Gonzaga for the past 20 years in his first year down in Tucson, to really bring the heat and really put pressure on Houston, who lost two of their best players early on in the year. That being said, Kelvin Sampson's crew is going to be ready. He might be the coach in terms of if I'm trying to rebuild a program, I might just pick Kelvin Sampson to do it. He is that great. You look at what they've lost this year in Sasser and their fifth leading scorer, in Mark during the month of December, and somehow the Cougars have still gotten to the Sweet 16 yet again for the third time in the last 4 NCAA tournaments. And there's only been a few teams to do that, including, Gonzaga's one, Michigan, who we'll talk about here in just a second, and the Red Raiders are another as well. But in this matchup, I'm very interested to see how Houston really tries to match up against the size of the Wildcats. I'll say this, I do have the Wildcats winning this one, but man, this one's going to be a very close game. This is the second closest matchup I have in all the Sweet 16 matchups, just behind the Blue Devils and the Red Raiders out west. Now, we move on down in the South region, and you have Michigan against Villanova, the 11 versus the 2, and we know, there's a bunch of Wildcats in this, and then Wolverines, just crazy type cats out here. Anyway, on the Wolverines side, again, they make it to the Sweet 16 yet again for the 4th consecutive year, and Juwan Howard's bunch has played really, really well, really ever since he threw that haymaker against Wisconsin's coach. They beat Colorado State in the first round and beat Tennessee as well. Obviously, the name to know for the Wolverines is Hunter Dickinson and then Eli Brooks as well at the point guard position. When it comes to Villanova, Jay Wright's crew, they're dominant. They always seem to have a great point guard, and this year is no different in Colin Gillespie. I'll say this, it is very difficult and probably naive of me to bet against Michigan, but I will go with Villanova. They're America's team. I have them winning this, and I have the 1 and the 2 going off in the South region, where in the West, I have the 1 and the 3. Moving on to the Midwest, I have Kansas and Providence up in Chicago. This might be one of those weird situations where you look at Kansas and it's probably not the best team that Bill Self has ever had, but it has maybe the best chance to make the Final Four out of the last few, because looking at the region right now, the winner of this Kansas and Providence game is going to face a double-digit seed regardless, because the 10 and 11 in this region are matching up in Miami and Iowa State. I'm taking Kansas regardless. Again, I've been very adamant about it, and I've been wrong so far on Ed Cooley's crew. I don't see it with Providence, and they continue to win games. I love Durham at the point guard position, but I think Kansas ends this run by Ed Cooley's and the Big East Club in Providence. I think the Kansas Jayhawks handle business and move on to the Elite Eight. As for who they will be facing off against, there could be a Big 12 matchup in the Elite Eight. If Iowa State beats Miami, Cyclones come in. Well, they finished 2-22 last year. The job that TJ Otzenberger has done up in Ames has just been, absolutely phenomenal. They beat LSU. That was kind of to be expected with all the drama going on down in Baton Rouge. But then you beat Wisconsin, a team that some had in their Final Four. I know that I had them going to the Elite Eight, and they lose to Iowa State, who, again, a lot of people thought, including myself, was going to lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament, depending on the matchup. And here they are in the Sweet 16, facing off against Larinaga squad from Miami, and I'm going to take Iowa State in this game. They know how to muck it up. Their defense is legit. They have a top 10 defense in the country, and I have a Big 12 matchup in the Elite Eight between Iowa State and Kansas for a right to go to the Final Four down in New Orleans. Let's finish it off in the East Regional. At the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, we have the North Carolina Tar Heels, who beat the defending national champions in the Baylor Bears down in Fort Worth, and the UCLA Bruins, who have been here before. Remember, they made the Final Four last year and were maybe an overtime away from beating Gonzaga, but instead Jalen Suggs made that phenomenal half-court shot to send the Bruins home. In this one, it's going to be a dogfight. I think there's going to be a lot of offense in this one, but I'll say this. You look at what North Carolina has done this year in terms of their postseason run. Brady Manick, you got Becken down there as well in the post. They have legit bigs, and Davis as well. Just at the coaching spot. I mean, he makes critical adjustments, and now he almost got himself in trouble against Baylor. But they continue to do a really good job to the Tar Heels. But I think their run-ins against Nick Cronin's bunch from Westwood, and I think that Johnny Juzang, who struggled against Akron and really struggled against St. Mary's as well, really comes alive in this one and propels the Bruins to their second Elite Eight in a row. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Everybody's team, I called Villanova America's team. Not so fast, RC. We know that's the Peacocks of St. Peter's. They face off against Purdue, and really one of my favorite players in the tournament, in Jaden Ivey, who I think could easily be a top 3 pick in the NBA draft this year. And they have ultra-skilled big men as well, and Zach Edey as well as Trayvon Williams. St. Peter's, man, it's really going to come down to how they can guard the bigs from Purdue. They have 2 legit 7-footers. Matt Painter is trying to get to his first Final Four as the head coach of the Boilermakers, and the first time for Purdue to make the Final Four since 1980, while the Peacocks have really just been the Cinderella story, right? Their head coach is probably going to be the next Seton Hall head coach, but right now you have the resume of beating Kentucky as well as Murray State. Does it end here? I mean, I don't know, but I'll say this. If they win, with one more win, again, this is just absolutely insane. They will be the first 15 seed to ever make the Elite Eight. I am, however, taking the Purdue Boilermakers in this one. So again, I have Purdue winning, and then I have them facing off against UCLA. I have Iowa State and Kansas in a Midwest Regional Final, all Big 12 edition. And then I have Villanova, Arizona in the South down at AT&T Center in San Antonio. And then I have the Red Raiders of Texas Tech facing off against Gonzaga in the Elite Eight, which they've done in the recent past. Remember, 2019 out west as well, the Red Raiders beat Gonzaga with Tariq Owens, Jarrett Culver, and then they went on to lose in the national championship. Let me know down in the comments below if you agree or disagree with me. I've been pretty solid so far on a lot of my predictions in terms of who's going on. Obviously, nobody saw Kentucky going out early, but so far so good. Let me know if you agree with me down in the comments. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button right there. I am making just as many videos as I can about March Madness, and it's slowly heating up. I'm keeping you up to date, and if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter over at RCMB323 on the old Twitter machine. Appreciate y'all, and as always, stay safe over there, wherever you may be.